Hello friends and subscribers, welcome back to Daniel's Tech World here on YouTube. My name is Daniel Rosil, and I did say yesterday that I was going to be doing a number of videos about large language models and generative AI and working with AI really over the next few months. And I did have the thought today, as I was kind of wrapping up from the cold here in Jerusalem, that maybe I need to do a separate YouTube channel. And then I thought, you know what? I started this tech channel just to try have some separation between the other stuff I do. And I'm not going to go down this road of starting a million and one small YouTube channels, which I would totally do. So I'm preventing myself from doing that. But I do appreciate that for those who signed up for content about optical media. You might be thinking, hey, I didn't want more AI stuff. There's already enough crazy people like Daniel talking about AI in the world. If that's the case, I get it. And this is the direction. That's why I'm just kind of putting that disclaimer out there, that PSA out there. And I will probably stop doing that from henceforth on. So what I want to do in sort of coming wave or coming batch of videos is to talk about different little use cases you can make for LLMs. I hope they're going to be reasonably short, because I've had the thought during this year, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, that wow, I could literally write a blog, or I should write a blog probably, called like Use Case a Day, just talking about the different things that these things are good for. One of the things about large language models I personally connects with me the most, and I love the most, and I think they're highly underrated for this, is ideating, brainstorming. The reason I say that is because when the world discovered ChatGPT in a big way this year, and people's thoughts kind of shifted straight to, Research Ninja. I don't need to search for stuff on Google anymore. The problem with that is that puts a lot of pressure on the large language model to be accurate in ways that the technology might not yet be quite ready for, in terms of stuff like we talked yesterday about context and real-time information retrieval. That challenge, which is being worked on very much. The other challenge, of course, is, as we all know or we've seen working with these things, is hallucinations, which is the technical term for LLM's tendency to make shit up, but sound very, very, very decisive in the way that they make shit up. They're like, no, yeah, this is the fact. This is true. And you're like, no, that company doesn't exist. So that's a problem. And certainly in some of my videos about prompting, I want to actually talk about safeguards against hallucination, little things you can build into your prompts to ask the LLM to double check, to verify. There are things I've begun working with and begun integrating them into my prompts, and they actually work. So I will be doing videos about those. Today's one, in the spirit of talking about ideating. Ideating in data is actually, I think, a really interesting use case for LLMs that I will use quite a lot. So something that I've been working with this year, working with currently for my job, is looking at the correlation between financial performance for companies and their sustainability performance. You might think, what has that got to do with LLMs? And this is where I actually see them being most valuable. Ideating, right? We're all one person and one brain, and we all think within these kind of parameters and boxes almost. And I like the way that LLMs can help you break out of your own boxes as such. So I'm gathering data at the moment about the sustainability performance, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe this doesn't make any sense, or maybe there are additional types of source data points while I'm doing this I could be gathering. So that's actually what brought me to prompt here, is the thought, maybe I can ask an LLM, AI, as most people just refer to it now. So this is the data that I'm currently working with, and I occasionally, whenever I have a tech that I really like and it just comes up on my screen, I just want to be like, oh yeah, that's a really good tech, I really recommend it. I like this tool a lot. It's called Modern CSV. I use Linux, and CSV editors are really kind of stuck in the past, and they've done a good job. It's a nice tool that just makes it, I think, a lot better. If you're working with CSV data a lot, and it's just a nice tool. I like it, Modern CSV. So what I'm going to do is just copy out the header row of my CSV. I'm going to paste it into my large language model here. The following row of data is the header row for a CSV that I'm currently working on. The purpose of this data gathering is to compare companies' sustainability performance with their financial performance. Infer the data points I'm gathering from the header row. Your task is to come up with 6 additional parameters that may be helpful in this evaluation and which I should collect. Please focus on easily accessible data from public sources. So just want a couple of quick comments about why I've prompted like this. Just to be really explicit, like infer, like that's an instruction, right? I'm asking you to look at that row of header data from the CSV, and I'm asking you to infer the meaning. I'm not going to tell you. You need to figure that out. And then your task. This is something that I find very useful when whether you're working with especially a conversational model as opposed to an instructional large language model. There are different variants. If it's conversational, I like to kind of say almost like, this isn't a chat. This is your job. Here are your orders. It's a little bit weird, especially if, like me, you're maybe sort of a less assertive personality and you feel like you're bossing, a robot around a bit. But I do find it helpful to say very explicitly your task, breaking up the prompt into bits really for the large language model. Firstly, look at this, then infer what I'm collecting. Then here is your task. Please focus on easily accessible data from public sources. I did that so that it doesn't suggest some data that I just won't be able to find, because that would not be so helpful. But I didn't add a formatting instruction, and that's something I might actually throw in here. And the purpose here is just to get the output a little bit more tight. I want to tell it exactly how I want to format it. Format your recommended parameters in the following format exactly. Header, parameter you suggest. Explain what the parameter is. Not in love with that, to be honest. So format your recommended parameters in the following format exactly. So I usually edit these out in my videos, but I just thought I'd show you guys today the kind of more raw process that goes into just working with prompts. It's really never, almost for me at least, a write the prompt, run the prompt process. There's refinement, definitely. Format your recommended parameters in the following format exactly. Header. Now I'm just trying to think to myself what would be helpful. A description and where I can get it would be helpful. Describe why collecting this parameter would be useful. Finally, state where I may be able to find this parameter. Now, I might tighten that up at the end. I'm not going to do another iteration here, but I might say, like, think of the context you're working in. We're gathering company sustainability data. Then think where I might get that parameter, i.e., I'm already looking here, go here. You could throw in the whole spreadsheet. The reason that I'm recommending that I do just the header row is because if I put in the whole data that I'm working with, just show you guys again, it's going to throw in a lot of tokens to the large language model, right? And those really aren't going to be helpful. It's not, I might, and again, just different ways you can sort of skin the cat here. You might actually put in 3 rows. That might be a little bit more useful. In fact, I can just copy out 2 rows of data. And the reason I'm doing this now, I've copied my first row of data as well as a header row, is just I'm thinking on the go, okay, do you know what? I'm not going to just tell it the row. I'm going to also show it a representative row. So performance, the following row of data is a header row for a CSV that I'm currently working on. And the second row is a row of data in the data source. So I just updated the prompt a little bit to reflect that. So now we are truly good to go, and we're going to watch this come back and just show you guys this use case as again I would call it, using a large language model to really just think beyond. You are one brain. I'm thinking of gathering this. You're my second brain today. Have a go at it. What do you think I should be getting? Renewable energy use percentage. It's also formatted in CSV friendly format, which is nice. Waste reduction initiatives, sustainable reports, water usage efficiency, employee. Okay, these are all interesting. Anyway, the point of today's video is not to bring you guys into the world of sustainability, data reporting, but more just to show the method here. So I'll leave it at that. This is a very useful method, I think, if you're working in data analysis, data visualization, and you're just trying to take a creative frame to thinking about the data you're gathering and just kind of going beyond really your thinking or maybe what you've defined rigidly in a project spec. Use a large language model as a sounding board, as a second brain, as I just called it, and ask it to come up with ideas for additional parameters that might be illustrative or instructive in whatever you are gathering data for. Thank you for watching today's video. More videos about large language models and prompting and AI coming up soon.